if you stand in front of the laptop.
Is this kind of where you have me over here?
I can get you wherever you're comfortable standing.
You tell
You
us.
gotta make them work, just like from the.
Right in the middle. He's Vanna White.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
What a great way to make a living, right?
Right.
But, I apologize. Sue did tell me that yesterday in an email, but I didn't have a chance to switch over to it. But yeah, and they did also change their, the band's gonna be after the first year, so.
Did you get much snow?
More than I cared
More than what you cared for?
Half hour ride took 90 minutes last night. Probably, judging from where when I pulled in,
Mm-hmm.
my tires went that deep.
Oh, wow, yeah. I was downtown, I had to go up by the airport here, and then I had to find 3 different ways
I think I'll need that.
to get over to
I'll talk real
I'm
loud.
up by Tyrone, so it's 99.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
get
just for the online
20
Okay.
miles.
so I have to use it and it won't
I
project
think it's
it.
bad, like, I
Okay.
used to just
Okay.
go
Yours
the
projects
old
to
way,
me on
just
like,
go
Okay,
go
perfect.
down
you probably
Scottsdale
don't
and
need
down,
it.
because then you're lower and not
Okay.
high. I take the low road sometimes.
You went past the airport last night?
Yeah.
That's right, I was in Belfont side on 550, so that's why I went a little bit. It was slow going back that way too.
I had to go to the center at night,
Okay,
so we're like one of like 4 people.
you're going to the center. With your workouts?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I drove by there. Well, I went straight, so it takes a left. I was straight.
Like after 8:15, it opened up, it seemed like a little
Yeah.
bit. On the way there, it was just a mess.
Yeah, I was shoveling my driveway around 7:30 sidewalk, but were they doing baseball practice inside?
So we're doing some basketball just before tryouts.
Oh,
Like,
okay. High school?
Middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah, we just put together like 20 kids that we knew, and just only 4 showed up, so it was fine. They got they got their work in.
I know my associate's Grayson, his son, was on the high school team last year. In State College.
Okay. Grayson. Oh,
Evan.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice family. Yeah, Evans, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of Global Entrepreneurship Week here at Penn State. Hope everybody's been enjoying the events this week, and there's more to come the rest of the week. So on behalf of the Global Entrepreneurship Week committee here at Penn State, as well as Invent Penn State, and all of the Office of Entrepreneurship and Commercialization, we appreciate all of your participation this week. So we have another great event that's lined up here this afternoon with one of our key partners at the Small Business Development Center, which is the Small Business Administration. And it's my pleasure to introduce our friend at the SBDC, Solomon Wheeler. And Solomon is a district manager, district branch manager at the Eastern office in Philadelphia for the Small Business Administration. Covering the branch out of Harrisburg. So he's going to present some information today on a really good resource for both borrowers and lenders called Lender Match. So I'm going to, with that, turn it over to Solomon and let him guide us the rest of the way. Thanks, Solomon.
Thank you, Ted, for that introduction. As he mentioned, certainly on behalf of SBA, I want to thank the Penn State Small Business Development Center for inviting us today. This is really an opportunity for us to connect with entrepreneurs, so we appreciate the invitation. As Tim said, my name is Solomon Wheeler. My office is in Harrisburg, so I'm the branch manager. We typically work out of Harrisburg. I'm covering about 14 counties or so. So it's just me running around like a crazy person and trying to really encourage folks to understand the resources that are available to them from the SBA and certainly through the Small Business Development Center network. So let me just first say, I have about 25 plus years in banking and economic development, but I've always had a love for small businesses. So from my perspective, I'm doing what I love. The SBA as an agency really does four things. The primary mission, the mission is to help Americans start and grow businesses. But when the four things that we're focused on, we always say it's 3 C's and a D. That's 3 C's and a D. So there's counseling, capital, contracting, and then the D stands for disaster assistance. And we're a part of kind of a big ecosystem of resource providers, and we certainly want to make sure that everyone is aware of some of the things that we do. In terms of counseling, we're spreading about $130 million or so plus into resource organizations like SCORE, which is a volunteer network of mentors, like the Small Business Development Centers, and like the Women's Business Centers. So from our perspective, it's a critical investment. We also work with providing guarantees to banks. So the second C would be capital. So we're basically just encouraging banks through guarantee programs to say yes to small businesses. The third C is contracting. So if you have, as a business, as an entrepreneur, if you have stuff that you want to sell to the government, we have folks that can kind of help you walk through that process, and certainly there are individuals that are specifically trained in understanding certifications. And then the D, and I hope you never use the program, but the D is disaster assistance. We just came through a big pandemic program in which we provided loans to small businesses and to individuals. It's important to remember that we do disaster loans for individuals. So the idea is that is the one time in which the SBA acts like a real bank and lends directly to individuals. So from our perspective, my one trivia fact is that during the pandemic, a portion, I'll say May, June, July in 2020, the SBA was potentially, arguably the 4th or 5th largest bank in the country. We're talking maybe, $1.5 to $2 trillion in financing that went out. So we believe that we really helped the pandemic from being worse than what it was. Certainly we know that there are real challenges. But the purpose of me being here today is really to talk about a couple of tools, really one specific tool called Lender Match. And I think that's going to be a recurring theme. We're trying to encourage entrepreneurs, small businesses to plug in to the resource providers that are available or plug in to some of the tools that are available. Lender Match at SBA.gov is going to be where you'll send questions. Certainly I'll try to answer some questions today, but anything that's beyond my expertise, I'm going to encourage you to send an email and copy me, and we'll make sure that you get an answer. Getting ready to seek a business loan, and this is something that I know my friends at the Penn State SBDC, they've seen this. We're simply trying to, again, re-emphasize this idea of putting together all of your information so that you're in a better place, you're in a better spot to be able to put yourself in a position to be successful when you actually go for financing. Lender Match really is just a tool that I always refer to the commercial. I don't know if you've heard of the Lending Tree commercial. When banks compete, you win. All you're really doing is saying, I need $200,000 to expand my pizza shop. This is what I'd like to do. And that goes out to banks, and they basically say, okay, we're interested, let's talk. But a big part of getting ready to seek a business loan is looking at these 6 areas that we've identified. I'm not going to go through all of them, but from business planning to the amount of funds that you need, to your credit history, financial projections, are you doing those? Collateral, what type of collateral do you have? All of these areas become very, very important. And the idea is to sit down with your business consultant at the SBDC so that you can begin to understand and articulate and can be able to communicate exactly what your business is about. So, and by the way, I should say, that was one of the key learnings that we had out of the pandemic. We saw that when we sat down and asked an owner for his balance sheet and cash flow and financial projections, some could provide it, but many of them stumbled. Many of them could not identify the appropriate paperwork, and that prevented them from actually getting loans. So the idea is that we know that financial literacy is an issue. We know that certainly many of these small businesses know how to make the widget, they know how to make the pizza or bake the bread, but do they really understand how to manage their business? Do they work on their business instead of in it? You may have heard that before. But the idea is that we need to continue to educate America's businesses. We need to continue to educate Pennsylvania's businesses so that they can be in a better position for the next challenge. I'm not going to say next pandemic. Hopefully we don't see that for another 200 years, but the next challenge that they may be faced with. Okay, so Lender Match. Now we're going to drill down to just a specific tool. Lender Match is a way in which businesses can get connected to banks. There are 4 easy steps. Number 1, describe your needs. You answer a few questions about your business. Number 2, you'll get matched in about 2 days, 2 to 3 days, I'd say. That information is going to go out to banks that are signed up for Lender Match. You'll have an opportunity to talk to lenders, and then you'll have an opportunity to apply for the loan. So, describe your needs. And again, if you're working in, if you've worked with any of the SBDCs, even if you've worked with SCORE or the Women's Business Centers, you've seen these topics before. Small business owner answer a few questions about his or her funding needs. They typically are going to cover these 4 areas: your contact information, your industry category, business description, and your financial needs. This is the link, Lender Match for Entrepreneurs. This is, the kind of how should I say, the fancy landing page that the SBA has created, and it looks great. But the idea is that we're trying to keep this as simple as possible so that any individual can go on and work through the process of finding a lender. The next couple of slides, we're going to go through actually what it looks like to a small business and what they ultimately see. Once you actually sign in, you're simply going to be asked for your full name, what's your phone number, email address, all basic, easy questions, right? And you're then going to process for new requests. You'll get back, based on security and based on all of the things that we focus on around security, you'll get basically a PIN that'll be sent to your email address, and then you'd have to enter in that PIN on this particular screen. And I want to thank, I should say certainly my colleague Lynn out of the Western Pennsylvania office. She kind of put this presentation together, so that's why you see her name there. But basically, any individual that signs up is going to see an email that comes back. Thanks for showing your interest. Here's your PIN, and then you're going to use that PIN to complete your Lender Match account. So far so good, right? Pretty simple, pretty basic. If you've ordered anything from Amazon, you can handle this, right? Lender Match, a PIN has been sent. You plug that in. She's got screenshots here. So with Lender Match, it'll ask for your name of your business, what's your zip code, what's your business website. If you have that, that is optional. If I could get some water, that'd be helpful. Yeah. Describe your business. Now, here's something that Lynn said. Make sure you tell them about this. We have folks that, will put in 2 or 3 sentences about what their business is. We're encouraging individuals to lift this from their executive summary. And how do you get an executive summary? Hopefully you're connecting with one of your resource providers, Small Business Development Center, Penn State, hint, hint. Make sure that you're pulling that from your executive summary and what Small Business Development Center you're working with. Why? Because that's going to help increase your credibility. That's going to help the bank to understand that, oh, they're working with one of the resource providers, so I know that the quality of the request is going to be improved. It's going to be better. Remember, there is a limit of 2,000 characters. And this is basically, this is just to give a sense. Thank you, appreciate it. This is just to give you a sense of what 2,000 words looks like. It's about, I consider that, I don't know, 3/4 of a paragraph, but the idea is that it's about 400 words or so. Use your executive summary to put this information in. Next screen, what's the next screen that you see? You actually see the industry and duration in the business. What is your industry? There'll be a drop-down menu from that. How much experience do you have? And excuse me, I just need to take a quick sip. One of the things I want to emphasize on this is that when many individuals who look at this, they say, how much experience? Well, I've got 25 years. I'm a seasoned professional. The idea is that you want to focus on your how long your business has been up and running, whether that's 2 years, 3 years. The whole point is that to put the duration of time that your business has been up and running. And again, you'll have an opportunity to identify what industry. It's a drop-down menu, pretty simple in terms of being able to identify and select an industry. The next slide that you'll see is funding needs and use. How much funding do you need? The minimum loan amount is $500, but the idea is to have a sense. And again, if you work through your business plan, if you work through the executive summary, then you should have a sense of how much money you want to borrow. And then you're going to have an opportunity to say, well, how will the funds be used? Whether it's for refinancing, hiring new employees, purchasing inventory. There'll be a drop-down menu that'll clearly display what you're going to use this for. And then describing how you plan to use the funds, you can actually add in text that's over here. Let's see if the little pointer is there. I don't know if there's a, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, no. So the idea is that in that 2,000 characters, you can borrow from your executive summary to clearly communicate what you're going to use the funding for. What's next? Business plans and revenue. So the idea is that with LenderMatch, you're being driven through the process. You know, I have a written business plan. You check that off, select all that apply to you. I have financial projections. I'm generating revenue, estimated average annual revenue, etc. I have collateral. All these things are going to be helpful to any bank that is evaluating. I should say on projections, you know, that we're seeing, we encourage you to have at least 3 years. Probably not much more than that, but certainly 3 years, and the first 1 or 2 months should be, you know, on a monthly basis, income statement, cash flow, balance sheet. But the point is that that's an important part. Many bankers, they always tell me, oh, we're going right to the financials to see if this thing makes sense. So we encourage you to add as much as you can information into this application. Finally, what happens? You review and submit your information. You'll get a summary page. This is the LenderMatch summary page. You'll see your contact information, all of your business information. This screen's a little awkward. It's three pages, and you'll have to kind of scroll down. But the idea is that it'll all be summarized from the industry to the loan amount, etc. It can be edited, so there's some, you know, flexibility as you enter your information in the LenderMatch program. And then finally, you know, you'll see the questions that you've answered. And again, if you've done other types of online applications, this is just your summary page of how you've answered those questions. Your application is complete but not submitted. You then will, okay, this is what comes back with LenderMatch. So it's called a lender requested information. I know you just put all that information in. Now LenderMatch says, well, your request has been potentially matched with 11 lenders. The following optional information has been requested by 6 out of the 11 members. So it actually gives you some detail as to how many are interested. Please press the button on the bottom page to submit the request. So all of this information is optional. I would encourage you to do it. If you're able to put that in from your business name. Again, all basic stuff, number of current employees, number of jobs created. This will, again, give banks the opportunity to really drill down and say, okay, I am in fact interested, let's go further. The next step might be to actually, you know, work on a meeting. So after selecting match, a screen listing the number of potential lenders appear. Complete the optional lender requested information and select submit to the lender. And, you know, Lynn is very detailed. So she said, this is what you're getting back. Eugene's getting back. It says, check your email. There may be some basic additional steps. And then what happens is there's a submission screen. Thank you for submitting your lender request. After you complete and submit, it'll basically tell you that you've done that. The lender match submission process has concluded. It should take about 2 business days for you to hear something back. And then, lenders that are actually interested will contact you. So this is, again, I think another reason to build a relationship with your local SBDC. This program is open to nationally to any banks that are participating as SBA lenders, but certainly if you want to drill down to and focus on local lending institutions, it helps to also be plugged into your SBDC. So small business owners receive an email from lendermatch@sba.gov, referral basically for additional business plan. They may follow up on wanting to see your business plan, and then there will be contact information as to who's interested in discussing your financing project. So a couple of other slides that she has in here, again, more detail on the SBA email. Again, 2 business days. If no lender responds to your loan requests, SBA provides a link for local business counseling. So, and certainly I'm always going to be a resource. You're welcome to let me know if you're not getting a response through Lender Match, or let Lynn know if she's on the other side of the state, if you're in Western Pennsylvania. Okay, what you'll get back typically is a listing of the type of banks that are interested. Zion First National Bank, for example. You'll get a contact at the lending organization. You'll get their email so you'll know who should be reaching out to you. Talking to lenders, again, you'll have an opportunity to apply for the loan and actually sit down and talk with lenders. And this is just a screen that kind of focuses on what happens now. If lenders haven't agreed to offer, they may just have expressed interest. So again, you want to give this feedback to the SBDC that you're working with, or let us know if you're not hearing back from your lender. What should you ask the lender? Again, you'll be prepared if you've gone through the process of, what exactly do you need the money for? These are all the same things that you answered in the lender match application. What are your cash flow requirements? What type of financing can you handle? Are you trying to support? What type of collateral do you have? And then how should you prepare to apply for the loan? We really just kind of went through that, and that is making sure that you have at least an executive summary and all the supporting documents. So I'm going to, this is basically, if you actually end up going through and getting a loan, there's a way to enroll in our systems, the CAFS account enrollment, but that's another process, and I'm not going to go into that today. A little more complicated, but the point is that I think Lender Match is a tool that the SBA has developed that I think can be effective. It's an opportunity for individuals just to simply fill in some basic information and get feedback from lenders. And we want more businesses to be aware of that. Again, I'm always available as a resource if anyone has questions specifically about Lender Match or about SBA in general. This is just a slide. Lynn covers Western Pennsylvania. If you have any specific questions about Lender Match and you're in Western Pennsylvania, she's always available, and her contact information is in the presentation. And that's my information, and we're covering Eastern Pennsylvania. So certainly, I would say, if there are any questions in the room or if there's any questions online, certainly I'm open to answering those questions, and we'll just go from there. Does anyone have any questions in the room? Yes, sir.
So if I'm adding information to Lender Match and I'm in St. Paul, Pennsylvania, when the banks respond, is there consideration on my location?
Yes.
Brick and mortar in my footprint?
Absolutely. So, there is criteria that they would set to, if they're looking, they can even set and drill down to the county level if they're interested in focusing on a particular business, particular industry, a particular location. So, And you have to communicate. Again, if you're working with an SBDC, communicate what you're looking for. If you'd prefer to bank with someone that's local, that's your prerogative, and we'd love to be able to connect you with some local lenders also that are participating in the lender match system. And I apologize for my voice. It's been a while. I'm getting a workout today. Are there any other questions about lender match or the SBA program in general? Yes.
If a business is matched with a lender that's at a distance and they've got the best terms, is it pretty safe to say at this point that the customer service and working through everything, that all the things that attract people to the local bank,
Right.
Did going through the pandemic bring the whole
Yeah.
system up where kind of working remotely is
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, so let's see if I can talk some numbers. So, there are probably, I don't know, about 4,500 SBA participating lenders, in the system. And yes, I think many banks have realized that from a customer service standpoint, to help businesses feel comfortable, many prefer local or regional banks. And we can get to those even through lender match. But the other side of it, when you put your financing hat on, you say, look, I just want the cheapest money available, right? And that may be a bank in California, that may be a bank in Florida. It depends on how aggressive they might be. So for example, Bay First, which is out of Florida, they are a very aggressive bank. They love SBA lending, and for the right deal, they'll go national. So the point is that there are banks out there that may not necessarily be in the Mid-Atlantic area that are open to SBA lending and are very aggressive. So you have to balance the two, and this is why we're here, to be a resource to help you identify what organizations you're most comfortable with. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay. Yes.
I may have missed this because I was in and out at the beginning, but is this primarily just for the 7A loan program, or is it multiple funding programs?
Yeah, I think, so the SBA participating lenders have their full slate of programs that are available. We allow them to reach into the SBA toolbox and pull out what they think is appropriate. It could be SBA, it could be 504, it could be the SBA Express program. And if I'm agnostic toward what type of loan product is used, I just want the small business to get the loan that they need. It may be a traditional or commercial loan, right? We are seeing interest rates go up right now. And so, so from our perspective, SBA lending may or may not be competitive if the individuals are really good credit, really strong credit, strong business. A bank so for example, Members First Federal Credit Union is an SBA lender. They do a lot of small business loans. But much of those loans are non-SBA, even though they have the ability, because for their best customers come in and say, I want the lowest interest rate possible, which may or may not be SBA lending. So if they're comfortable in that space, from our perspective, we still believe that this is an opportunity, right, even for our lenders to find customers. So we leave it up to the bank. They have the latitude to make a decision.
I think one thing working with different businesses, people that shop very heavy, they get their emails out, all that, and sometimes there's that risk of cybersecurity or threats. So
Yes.
a lot of times, sometimes they call me or email me and go, hey, I don't have a legit email, I'm not sure.
Yes.
Someone from a bank I never heard of. Can you maybe kind of talk a little bit of, I know like every bank is different out there, but
Yeah.
for the audience that might be virtual or someone here, seeing these emails come through,
Yeah.
SBA might have something that might look totally legit.
Yeah, I mean,
There's other ones that are SBA, but maybe
Right.
they're not.
Right. So obviously, if any small business or entrepreneur uses Lender Match and they get an email back that they're not comfortable with, send it to Lender Match. The email's in there, and they can copy me on that. There is layered security. I'm not a techie, so the idea is that it is ISO, whatever the latest is, qualified. My understanding is from a cybersecurity standpoint, they've got this kind of zero tolerance for really hackers that are constantly trying to hack into the networks of the federal government. So I would say anyone that is not comfortable with an email that they receive, any small business, any entrepreneur, please have them send it. If it's related to Lender Match, send it to lendermatch@sba.gov. You're always welcome to copy me, and I'll do my best to figure out whether or not it's legit. We have people inside that give us a sense of whether or not something is fraudulent. I mean, it is an issue. We saw it with the PPP program. We saw it with COVID. And there is a process. And in fact, we have real people that go out and investigate if it is legitimate fraud. So from our perspective, we do take it very, very seriously. And so we want to know if someone is not comfortable with any type of email that purports to be from the SBA. Okay.
And, if there's a bank out there that currently doesn't participate with you folks, what's the turnaround time generally? Is
If they want to sign up for.
If they want to sign up, is it like a 3-month process, or is it?
No, it's usually, so assuming that they're an SBA participating lender, then usually it should be within 30 days. It should not take a while. If they're not an SBA lender, then there is a process, an eligibility process that takes some time. So, and we can talk more about that, but typically if an individual bank wants to sign up, there's what's called a 750 form. We have to understand what they're doing from a small business standpoint. So, and I can provide you with information on the details of that, but if they're already an SBA participating lender, should not take long at all. It's really just putting a switch on in the CAF system. Okay. Are there any other questions on Lender Match? Does that make sense? Give me some feedback. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, certainly are there any questions online? No? Okay. All right. So, hopefully you found this to be informative, and that, it's an opportunity to maybe talk with some entrepreneurs, with small business owners around another tool that could be used to identify financing. Of course, anyone that doesn't want to do it, I'm going to say the old-fashioned way. They can pick up the phone, they can call Solomon, they can send me an email, and we'll help get them connected to any of the SBA participating lenders. In Central PA is about 26, but across the Eastern PA, there's probably about 110. So there are plenty of banks that are participating in the program. We want to make it easy to understand all these issues around financing. So if there aren't any more questions, I want to say thank you for your attention. And we'll conclude with, we do want to hear from you, so make sure that you take some time for this anonymous survey. You can just take a picture of this QR code. It's just a brief anonymous survey. And again, on behalf of SBA, I want to thank Penn State SBDC. And, I'm sorry. We've got one more question. Yes, sir.
About the banks that are participating in the program, are there a list of the banks in the Pittsburgh market that are participating, or in the state of Pennsylvania?
I can get you connected. We used to produce a full-color resource guide this is all prior to the pandemic, that listed all of the active SBA lenders. Those that have signed up for Lender Match will be in the system. But if you want a list in a Word document or PDF, I can work with my colleagues to get you a list.
I was wondering who register with Lender Match itself, other lenders that are registered with Lender Match.
I think we can get that for you. We can get that for you. Make sure that you give me your contact information, and we'll get a list of lenders that have signed up for Lender Match. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay. And so, again, just wanted to mention, make sure that we want feedback from you. We want to know if this was helpful, so please do the brief anonymous survey and give us some feedback. Okay.
Well, again, on behalf of the entire group here with Global Entrepreneurship Week at Penn State, we want to thank Solomon for joining us today for this event and for all the great information.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.